Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Ganabala Girivaradhari Gopi Ganabala Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanandana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajatacharya Ashtotaya Sarasa A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Shri Shri Nitaya Gauranga Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Brihat Madanga Ki Gaura Premanandi. All glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru Garanga, all glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vicharine Nevasesha Sunyavadi Astichade Shatarine. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees who have assembled here tonight. Some of you have come, as we heard, from near and wide or near and far. Some have come as far as London and Brighton, and we're off Bengal. Tarun Prabhu is from Bengal, but he's been living in New Zealand for 10 years. And I suppose most of you are from nearby Crawley, is that correct? Apparently. Maybe a few other places. Romford. That's London. Oh, Krishna. Leicester. Leicester! Leicester! You're well known around here, I think. So, anyway, it's nice to be here. I think quite a few years, maybe 10 years, I can't remember. Last time I came was a long time ago. 12 years. Pardon? 12 years. 12 years, to the center.
Yeah.
I came twice for Rath Yatra. I don't know, maybe I came another time somewhat after that. I didn't come here. Anyway, quite a few years. I guess you're having Rath Yatra this year, are you? When?
18th of August.
August 18th. When is Crawley? When is Croydon?
It's the day before.
Day before?
Yeah, so 15th is Croydon, 16th is Crawley.
15th is Croydon, 16th is Crawley. Okay. Good. We're planning to go for a Rath Yatra in Southampton. I don't know if they've had before, but on the same day is a Rath Yatra in Bournemouth, next door almost, and in Watford, Rath Yatra, and Colchester, all on the same day. I don't know how that works out. Pretty amazing. We couldn't have imagined that in England, you know. And there's one day, maybe it's the next day, there's I believe five Rath Yatras on the same day. Incredible. How many Rath Yatras in England altogether now? 40, it's more than 40, that's for sure. Maybe 45, somebody said. But there's a Rath Yatra this afternoon. Is that right? Where's Krishna Kata? Was it this afternoon? Rochester?
That was yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay. It happened yesterday. Rath Yatra near Rochester. I don't think that was even on the list of Rath Yatras. I don't think so. It's amazing. Wonderful. Where's my... As you mentioned, someone mentioned to me, Lochan. Where are you, Lochan? Here he is. You may all know Lochan. I think you come here quite often, from Brighton. He mentioned to me that something about enthusiasm, so I tried my best to be enthusiastic just to impress you just now. It was pretty difficult after being in Red Hill for an hour or so on Harinam this afternoon. It was packed, wasn't it? We could hardly move in Red Hill. Between 4 and, what time were we there? 3:30 to 4 something, 4:30. There was more of us than them. There weren't many of us. Right?
Right.
At least at the end. I'm just going to... So I put sort of a little thingy together on enthusiasm today. Where's it gone? Oh boy, I've lost it. I've lost all my enthusiasm now. And here it comes. You know what, Prabhupada? We wrote a letter to one, actually she was in England. Her name is Spotty. Most of you have never heard of her, probably. Probably they live in Portland. She was from Portland, Oregon. Or wherever Portland is, I can't remember. But anyway, maybe it's not Oregon, somewhere in America. And Prabhupada wrote her this letter. You want to maintain it, because maintaining enthusiasm assumes you've got it in the first place. You can't maintain something you don't have. But anyway, we'll start here since it's on the top of this thing here. Best way to maintain enthusiasm is by regular chanting with the devotees together in the temple and by having festivals. So there's two things, the kirtan with the devotees in the temple and Rath Yatra festivals and all other festivals. So you should immediately have one festival, then everyone will be busily engaged. Festivals are meant to unify us, bring us together with a central pointer. There are so many festivals, I can give you one for every day. Every day a festival. Every day is a festival. You may, of course, not be gathering together here in the center. In one sense, in the temple, of course, every day is a festival. Glorifying the Lord, dancing and chanting and feasting is a real festival to chant the holy name. I'll just get these out. I'll try to get it out of the way. It doesn't sound very good, but I'll just read these. This is another letter, also in September. No, this is 1972, December. Prabhupada wrote this letter to the Temple President of London. His name was Dhananjaya. Some of you know Dhananjaya Prabhu. He lives in Luton, I think now, with his good wife, Balwapal. They were the president of the London Temple for the very place, which you know has now been acquired again, Haribol. And we went there the other day, didn't we? I went right through the building the other day, top to bottom, and bringing back memories of early days in London. My dear Dhananjaya, Prabhupada says, he didn't say this, but I'll say it, I need some tissues. That's not what Prabhupada said to Dhananjaya, by the way, but I need some tissues. I don't have any in the bag. I have some in that coat there. In fact, that's the coat there, orange coat. He said, or wrote, I'm just taking a bit of the letter, this is nowhere near all of it. I am especially glad to know, thank you, that everyone is feeling so much enthusiasm to work very hard in this preaching mission. What means that? Yeah, very hard. There's nothing wrong with hard work. What we call hard work. Being fully engaged. And when we work hard for Krishna, what happens? What's going on here? Is that tap water or bottled water?
It's warmed up for you.
Pardon?
It's hot water warmed up for you.
Is it bottled?
Bottled? Yes, bottled.
Okay, thank you. Put it. Hang on, put it somewhere. Well, I might knock it off. I do quite often knock it off, especially if you put it there. I might get enthusiastic and, here's a slight chance. Well, it's incredible. You work hard in material, maybe you get some money. We're going to talk about that in a minute. What are the driving forces, the initial incentives that people have for doing what they're doing and becoming what we see as enthusiastic about it. So working hard for Krishna, Prabhupada says here. There's so much enthusiasm to work very, because if you really want something, you'll work for it like anything. If we're lazy, that means we don't really have our goal in mind. We don't really understand what we're doing here. We're still, 99% foot in the material kind of world almost. We have to understand it. If we really have an understanding of who we are and what's our business in this world, we will want to work very hard. That enthusiasm must be maintained under all circumstances. That is our price. That is our price for entering into Krishna's kingdom. There's a price. And Prabhupada says that price is enthusiasm. To work very hard in this preaching mission. And Maya is always trying to take away our enthusiasm to serve Krishna. Because without enthusiasm, everything else is finished. We experienced that, I'm sure. Material spiritually. And I'm going to jump over the letter. It was quite a long letter, about 3 or 4 pages long actually. We can just reflect on how enthusiastic Srila Prabhupada was, and still is in one sense, to spread Krishna consciousness. Thank you. His enthusiasm was incredibly contagious. Like very, very, what's the word? Some kind of, like COVID or something, a very disease or some epidemic or something, which is very contagious. Just by coming close, one can contact that epidemic or disease. And Srila Prabhupada was, and still is, if we go there, his presence is very contagious. Disease condition, we could say. Our desires or our interest in material pursuits vanish in the presence of someone who's got such a high objective and such intense enthusiasm in every breath, not just to achieve it, whether results come or not, the enthusiasm is unflinching, uninterrupted. associating, you can't help but catch that bug. Therefore, Rupa Goswami has introduced this system of regulative principles, which I have taught you also. Now, here's one aspect of how to sustain that enthusiasm, how to develop it by association and sustain sustenance. These regulative principles, such as rising before 4 a.m. Now, many of you as householders, that may not be practically possible. It's possible, but not realistic. Children, work, everything else. But as much as possible, rise as early as possible in the morning. It's a little tapasya. Austerity is required. But one will get tremendous reciprocation, and one will become enthusiastic. If we have to use our common sense. We don't, force ourselves against health or against our eligibility and so on, but we try our best. Chanting 16 rounds minimum on beads daily, reading books, going for street sankirtan, preaching to anyone and everyone, offering the prasad like that. These principles of devotional service are there to safeguard us from Maya's attack by keeping us always enthusiastic. Enthusiasm ultimately, of course, comes from the Supreme Personality of God. It's the nature of the soul to be enthusiastic. When we're connected to, it's like iron, when it's connected, the magnet around it becomes attracted naturally. The closer we come to Krishna, the more the natural characteristics of the self will manifest enthusiasm. So we have to understand a little what enthusiasm means. Now, where's that book? Nectar of Instruction is in here somewhere. There's a famous verse in the Nectar of Instruction, and many of you know it. It's the third verse. Who knows this verse? Nectar of Instruction. Somewhere. I think it's in the front pocket, Rupanuga. In this one here. Not that one. That one. Missed the flame. There we go. Ooh, it says Nectar of Instruction. How many of you have got this book? Oh my, out here. Have you got it in the book, on the book table here? You have it here on your stock? Who's the stockkeeper? You. You're sitting in the wrong place. You don't have the Nectar of Instruction.
We have it in our stockroom, but we've got Bhagavatam on the table right now.
It's an interesting answer, isn't it? There's no room for any other books?
We'll make an adjustment. Nectar of Instructions.
How quickly?
We can do it now if you want.
It's not a very big book, is it? You read this. This is a key book in our Krishna consciousness. It really is. I remember when this book came out in 1976 in Mayapur, in Mayapur Festival in Mayapur, and the first time the book came out amongst the devotees. Everyone was going crazy to read the book, to read it, so enthusiastic. Everything is lapped up. So this book, especially this third verse, what's this third verse? Utsahan Nishyadaya, Tat Tat Karma Pravartana. Famous verse. They're all famous, but these first 4 verses are particularly famous. So this verse goes, there are 6 favorable principles to the execution of pure devotional service. You should be enthusiastic for pure devotional service, not mixed. You can be enthusiastic there also, but you should be aiming at pure devotion. And the first one is utsaha. Same word is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, I think it's the 18th chapter, maybe 26th verse or something. There Krishna explains it. Acting enthusiastically, utsaha. Being enthusiastic. And I'll read a bit of the purport here. The far right purport. Which part should be so much here? You must read this book. This is such an amazing book. For those who are practicing at least Krishna consciousness. if one strictly follows, you have to excuse me, I'm still recovering from Medhill. How many towns have we been in the last 3 days, huh? 4 days maybe. How many? Hythe, Folkestone, Ashford, Tunbridge Wells, Brighton,
yeah.
Peacehaven.
Yeah. Sure.
Peacehaven. Have you ever heard of that? There's nothing. It's just peaceful enough. Nothing happens there. Seagulls. The noisiest thing there is seagulls, I think. And the road, there's a scattered few shops on the. There's no shopping centre or town centre, nothing. It's just some houses on the coast. A road which goes between New Haven and Brighton on the coast there. You zip through it. And some people live there. And I guess there's a beach. But we went on Harinam. It was a lovely day. It was, what was it, 50 mile an hour wind or something blowing? Raining, gale force wind and a blizzard going in there. Anyway, we went along that highway. There were a few shops there. And I thought, well, I've never done Sankirtan there before. Let's do it. So we did. We chanted and danced along the road there. And I think we did more collection there than we did in anywhere else, practically speaking. Can you believe there's nobody on the street? Right, Rupanuga? Practically nobody. You were there, right? No. Oh, you didn't join us. You already left us. Peacehaven, that was really the highlight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Ashford and Peacehaven, they were there. Cool. I mean, just nobody around, you know, it's incredible. When you see how Krishna reciprocates by making that effort, you realize, not by chance, I mean, it's definitely not by chance. I mean, we'll give you one example. We were, how many of us? 4 of us? Maybe 4 of us, I think, I can't remember, maybe 4 of us. And just dancing, cars going by. And then as we crossed one road, one car came round the corner, just behind us. Saw the Indians waved it down, stop. Car stopped. 4 young Indian students inside, and opened the window, pushed a bag of Gita in their face. And no exchange. The driver said, "Can I give you a donation for this?" Student pulled out £20, gave me £20. And all the other students said, "Can I have one too, please?" We never arranged that. Krishna sent them there because we were, somehow we were there. If you're not there, it wouldn't have happened. And they live in Brighton. They didn't even know we were there in Brighton. They never met the devotees in Brighton. And they're in that funny little corner, street corner. Nobody else around the wall. But Krishna arranged. There were many experiences like that on our journey. At Harinam book distribution. You get enthusiasm from making that effort. You want to do it more. I still haven't found what I was looking for, by the way, all this patience. And the next one, it's Nischay, we have to be very patient also. And we have to be patient with me here. Krishna has his plans. Anyway, somewhere here, Srila Prabhupada says, what does enthusiasm mean? You know what it means? What is enthusiasm? You know. Come on. I'm depending on you here. What's enthusiasm mean?
Eager.
India?
To be eager.
Huh?
Eager. Eagerness. Eagerness.
Eager is in India. Eager. What does eager mean? Enthusiasm.
Motivated.
Pardon?
Motivated.
Motivated? Well, yeah. Definitely motivation is there. You have to have a motivation. You have to be driving force to do anything. What does the enthusiasm mean?
You're looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, that's maybe a part of it also, of course, looking forward to something.
Energetic.
Huh?
Energetic.
Energetic, yeah. Could be. All these things could be seen from the material point of view, I suppose, as aspects of enthusiasm. They could also be passion. And passion is not necessarily enthusiasm.
Willingness.
Willingness, yeah. They're all parts of it. Someone else said something.
Action.
Action, yeah, definitely. There's no question. Well, no, you can be internally enthusiastic, of course, and may not physically.
Without looking at the results.
Yeah, that's now we're coming on to another level of enthusiasm, which doesn't necessarily define enthusiasm as normally as we term it. We're talking more of a devotional angle there. Well, let's transform this. I don't know why it's not popping up. Am I on the wrong verse or something? Oh, here I am.
Is it unalloyed devotional service?
Well, that's the way Prabhupada starts off his comment on this, but that's not the direct. It is, but it's not the direct thing. I'll read it.
Being on the floor.
What's that? Lying on the floor?
Being
Being on the
in a floor.
Being in a flow? Flow? Flow. Flow.
Being in the flow.
Being in a flow. Sounds good. I'll give it a go. Huh? I've got it. I found it. I mean, I was going to say it, but I'll read it anyway. Endeavor executed with intelligence. This is devotional. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called enthusiasm. It's not just passion or action or going with the flow or whatever, or lying on the floor. It's endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. Intelligence. Because we know from the Bhagavad Gita, we know that verse, second chapter, probably text 44, something like that, 244 maybe. We know that verse. Prabhupada said this verse, when you read the Shastras, you can really, maybe with others, particularly in the beginning especially, because we may not be so enthusiastic to read, but if we read and hear from the Shastra, you'd be amazed how it almost imperceptibly, how it awakens within us some kind of... We call a professional photographer here today. He's just getting his position sorted out here. Be careful, he might be taking some pictures for BBC. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, settle down. What's that verse? Maybe it's not 240, but Prabhupada said this was the verse that gave him the enthusiasm to spread Krishna consciousness. But especially the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on that verse. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, you know this? Carry on. Be careful you start singing, you've got to finish it. Don't start singing unless you're going to finish it. Vyavasayatmika. You got off to a good start. And at least you have a... Yeah. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, ekeya kurunandana bahu shakayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. And this verse is very... it's the beginning, it's the essential foundation for the growth of our devotional service. Devotional service is not like some sitting down and just meditating. It's action, practical execution of devotional service. Favorable, as you mentioned, this famous verse in which is favorable to Krishna, under the direction of the Anushilam, direction of the following in the direction of the pure devotees of Lord Satovritte, which is also in this verse here. So endeavor. The devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. The execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. Action. Anyway, we could go on and on, reading and reading, but you should get the book yourself, if you haven't got it. What's your name?
Ronnie.
Ronnie? Ronnie is going to get, how many of you haven't got it? Now nobody's going to put their hand up now. I know your psychology. Suddenly you've got the book. 5 minutes ago you didn't have it, now you have it. All of a sudden. Ronnie, did you take a picture of those who didn't put their hands up?
We've got cameras.
You have cameras, you can't get off the hook. You're caught. Caught on somewhere. I'll finish the letter off and then we're going to go into a little bit of a test. Prabhupada says, if we strictly observe these principles, we shall remain always enthusiastic. These are the sources and the maintainers of our enthusiasm. Sources and maintainers. To serve Krishna. As soon as someone is not following them regularly, it may be certain that his enthusiasm will gradually disappear. We may not be completely, by any means, pure, offenseless, but nonetheless, once in making sincerely taking them on and making every effort we can to follow them, enthusiasm come in his wake. I don't possibly leave. The funny thing is the rest of that letter is about Bury Place and how it would be nice to keep Bury Place, even if we get another place, Prabhupada's going on. Okay, so with a short time, which is probably already finished anyway. Okay, let me ask you a few questions. Is there a difference between material enthusiasm and spiritual enthusiasm? Simple question. If you want to answer it, put your hand up. Answer.
Is it desire?
No, I didn't. A simple question. It's a one-word answer. Is there a difference between material and spiritual enthusiasm? Put your hand up. Okay. Yes. Okay. Everyone agree?
Yes.
Okay. Some things will be in common in terms of how it looks, or maybe even the motivation, but to some extent. Okay. Let's have some of the differences. Who knows the difference between material enthusiasm and spiritual enthusiasm? Because we may not have fully grasped what enthusiasm is, but this may help you to understand. Some differences?
The goal is different.
Pardon?
The goal is
Different goal. Is that right? Somebody mentioned something along those lines. I can't remember what it was, some kind of objective or something, or what they actually said, but something like that. On that basis, let's look at the material situation. Materially speaking, what is it that drives people to be apparently enthusiastic? Assuming that enthusiasm means that determination or that resolve to do something or other. Hands up and I'll call upon you. Please don't speak, okay.
Selfish enjoyment?
In the material, that's probably quite a strong one. You have some burning desire, isn't it, to enjoy something. And to the point you may even break the law if your passion is strong enough, isn't it? You may even cause violence to another living entity if you're that, motivated, strongly motivated, and someone gets in the way. Good. And some of you ladies, yes?
Sense gratification.
Yeah, it's along the same lines. There's desire to enjoy one's senses or sense gratification is I mean, in one sense, that's the only answer you need to give. It's broken down into details, various details. But it's all in the category. Everything we do in this material world, whether it's in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, is basically sense gratification. Whether it's personal, localized, or extended, it's basically to satisfy our senses. Everything. And the driving force, you could say, for most people's action, whether it's their study, whether it's their work, whether it's their family, whether it's some social work, whether it's national work, whether it's humanitarian work, whatever it may be, various forms of apparent good actions are also not to be discouraged, but they are still based upon sense gratification of one form or another in the material world. And that's driven by passion. We probably won't have time, but whether we go into this little bit of a category of the enthusiasm and the modes of nature, but we probably won't have time. Well, is there anything, I mean, you can't really go outside of that. They're all driven, you might say, like, you know, the pushings. You're living in a society sometimes where there's a competition, it's competitive. You know, and if you're like almost forced to try to make the grade or, you know, pass your exams, isn't it? I mean, you may not like it even, you may not even have a personal driving force, but your parents or society around you or obligations, you kind of like push yourself like that. There's another one which is, again, it's sense gratification. There are many. Any other aspects of that sense gratification? This is material. Yes, sir.
Results orientated?
Pardon?
Results orientated.
Result?
Result orientated.
Yeah, very much so. Well, very much so. You know, what does it feel like? Now let's give an example. What's going on? I don't know. Say it's can you imagine, and most of you are Indian origin of some kind or another, maybe from Africa, but Indian origin. And you're probably not quite the same. But those who are Indian origin, men particularly, I don't know about ladies, they're very into cricket, isn't it? Cricket. Two subject matters, cricket and politics. Let's take cricket, it's a little less, you know, dangerous. Cricket. Now, how do you think those cricketers feel when they win the World Cup?
Over the moon.
Huh?
Over the moon.
Over the moon. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Proud.
Huh?
Feel very proud.
Well, there's pride and there's great exultation. They feel like, you know, they've conquered the universe. They feel so good, yeah? Pardon? Joyful. Huh?
Joyful.
Jolly?
Joyful.
Joy?
Joyful.
Joy. Joy. Full of joy. Joyful. Joy. Joyful. Very good. Joyful. They feel great, isn't it? They're motivated. I mean, you know, sportsmen are generally, especially, I guess all sportsmen are very motivated. In your education, you're motivated. There's nothing better than, you know, results come out and you're top. You're top of the class. I mean, you feel so humble, isn't it? I mean, it's very much result-oriented. Your heart's pounding. You really like it. I mean, but it applies to. You could probably apply it to just about anything, really. Anything else?
Serving and validating the false ego.
Serving?
And validating the false ego.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, we have high expectations sometimes as well, and we have all these ideas of who we are, and, you know, we want to try to be that, you know, and though we never reach it. I mean, I guess all of us, I don't know if in ladies or not, I don't know, but I know we boys, I can't say you, but we, meaning where I grew up, everybody had this dream of being something in your life, you know, isn't it? International footballer, you know, spaceman or something, whatever, something big. Many boys have. Maybe the girls do too. You have a dream of your, you know, night in, what is it? Ladies, they want the A husband is, what do they call it? I'm tired, I can't remember all these phrases. They want that, a perfect husband, you know, and they're dreaming of that. And knight in silver armor or something, you know, that's going to save them from all their problems and satisfy all their desires and give them, you know, beautiful everything, you know. Dreaming, you know, these things. And we work towards it, we try for it, and whatever. They may be driving a song. False ego is behind everything anyway. False identity and material. It could be a philanthropic drive. It's a little bit more the mode of goodness. It could be, of course, economic drive is not really different, but it is defined, and artha and kama as two driving forces are there. The society one lives in, money is that's probably one of the major driving forces in terms of the detail within it. Money, isn't it? Drives people crazy. They do anything to get money, some people. Absolutely anything. You know, keep one's position, that's related to your false ego, I guess. You know, you're going to keep your position by all means. Lie, cheat, whatever, but keep your position. Sometimes it's like that. Great aspiration for recognition is there. Sometimes it's survival or emergency. We sometimes find when there's a situation of emergency, people become really, it's quite sad. I've seen it in a few places, and you've probably seen it in more, but in Brisbane one time, in Australia, there was a big flood, and people were coming out and helping people they had nothing to do with. They were working very hard to save people's houses and feed them and help them and so on. It's a tinge of the mode of goodness, trying to help others without any particular result for yourself. And we could go on, materially speaking. You could probably think of others, maybe we've missed the point. But it's generally around those areas. Let's look at spiritual enthusiasm and how to generate that. Any suggestions? Krishna conscious enthusiasm. We've already heard one, isn't it? Or two. What did we hear from Prabhupada just now? Who can remember from the letter?
Sing congregationally with the devotees in the temple.
Yeah, singing together in the temple, kirtan. It's magic, isn't it? We may do it for half an hour a week. How many hours a week are there? 24 times 7, come on. About 160, isn't it? Something like that, 170 maybe. Well, half an hour means it's 350, that's about, it's about 1/4% of our time. 0.25% of our time, it's not much. I did a calculation. Now, this of course doesn't apply to you because all of you are community members of this movement. You may call it Conga, I call it community because we're all in the same family, just differently located. Congregation entails ownership. Community means together. We're all together. So your position is a little different. And times have changed in our movement. In the beginning of the movement, you couldn't help it. You couldn't stay in the temple without being enthusiastic. It was not possible. Not possible. The whole mood of the temple was enthusiasm. Everything. Cleaning the temple, all together. Attending the morning program, evening program, all together. Taking prasadam, all together. Then everyone go on Harinam, Sankirtan for 7-8 hours a day, every day on the street. Now that adds up to a total, I worked it out, approximately, a total number of devotees in the temple times the total number of hours in a week is the mass time, let's say, possibility of 22% of the mass time, potential time, was on the street dancing and chanting. In 1992, I did a similar calculation of the same temple. It was 0.02% of that last time. It's gone down about 10,000 times in 30 years. It's gone up again now a little bit. But that going out together, and I don't know, maybe the devotees who came with me the last week or so, Never want to go out ever again, I don't know. Torture. I took them out in the blizzards, in the rain. Oh my goodness, what was that place again, near Brighton? Between
Shoreham.
Brighton, huh?
Shoreham.
Shoreham. Shoreham by the sea. We almost ended up in the sea. That wind, I've never experienced in England ever before a wind like that, at least not when I'm outside. Boy, oh boy. If I opened my jacket, I would have definitely ended up in France. It was like fighting against the wind to walk, you know. And then the rain came in, that made it even better. Anyway, that's, we're not suggesting that's what you have to do, by the way, but then you do get an incredible, I don't know how to describe it, but something within. You really feel Krishna reciprocating within. So that's not a Harinam on the street. But everything, Prabhupada mentioned, the regulative principles. This is spiritual enthusiasm. You may want that, but spiritual enthusiasm, it comes from Krishna. When he sees we're making the effort to come to him, then he gives us enthusiasm. Prabhupada said, you become enthusiastic by being enthusiastic. You develop a taste for dancing by dancing. You've got to do it. And in the association of devotees, it kind of, a little bit easier. Difficult to dance at home, isn't it? You can do it. You're dancing around your living room, bouncing up and down on your own. You probably have, some public authorities coming around. There's a crazy guy inside there. How else can you generate enthusiasm? Now don't forget, this is with intelligence. It's not our creation. It's coming down from Krishna. He's giving us the clue through the spiritual line of Parampara, through Prabhupada and so on. Those who are on this line are one-pointed, Bahushaka Yanantascha, Vyavasayatmaka Bodhi, Ekeha, one-pointedness. That's another symptom of spiritual intelligence or enthusiasm is one-pointed. Material enthusiasm is Bahushaka, many-branched. It's not focused on one thing. Yes?
Serving the devotees.
Pardon?
By serving the devotees.
Serving the devotees, what a beautiful, it's so wonderful, isn't it beautiful? Even materially, when you serve people materially, maybe help somebody across the road who's in trouble, help someone who's sick, or whatever it is, feed somebody. How do you feel? Damn it, I wish I'd never done that. I just wasted 2 minutes of my life. I could have been in the bar 2 minutes earlier. Now I'll never do that again. Is that how you feel? That's the mode of ignorance, if that's how you feel. How do you feel? Usually. Many of you are working in, medical world, health world, also health world. Of course, he's now head Pujari in Soho, but he was masseur and helping people with muscular problems and all kinds of things, professionals, nurse, bodily, subtle, mental, gym, health, like that. And you're kind of helping people with some ailments and so on, and by helping others, you feel, because they're kind of happy also, trying to help them, I guess, I hope they are. You feel good, or you feed people more than if you feed yourself. Mothers have this all the time with babies. They don't care about feeding themselves, they only want to feed the baby. They only want to see the baby's happiness, isn't it? Even if they're suffering, if the baby's happy, they're happy. That's very much the spiritual aspect is when we understand our spiritual identity, when we understand who we are, we are meant to be serving the servant of the servant. So serving devotees is the best way to please Krishna. Best way. What form it takes is a detail, but the principle is the best way to please Krishna. You can't please Krishna directly without serving the devotees first. main principle. What else? Yes.
If it's about with intelligence, then spiritualizing your intelligence via like listening or reading.
Very important. Hearing from Shastras, scriptures, or hearing from the pure devotee of the Lord, Bhagavad Gita. This is a really important point. Hearing the holy name carefully, Vada, Vada, Nina, but hearing Shastra, Nivrititashi, Vigayaman, Vavoshti. We have to hear from the pure devotees of the Lord. And even if we're not directly in that association, but just together, hearing, reading the books, all this, or listening to the lectures of the pure devotees, all this sharpens our intelligence, or awakens our intelligence, so that then we start to understand why we should be enthusiastic, or why we should apply this, follow the principles, or chant together, or give up whatever it may be, which is blocking our, not blocking, but clouding our consciousness. With a cloudy consciousness, we can't be, it's very difficult to be enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness, isn't it? You might seem to be, but your motivation, now this is a very important point. Materially speaking, generally it's very result-oriented, isn't it? Tangible result, something you can see. Money, or sex, or position, or name, or something like that. Spiritually, that's not the motivation, is it? I hope. But if it is, then you'll see that although you may appear enthusiasm, the enthusiasm will die out if you don't get the result. That's another aspect of enthusiasm. It does not depend on the result. It's based on knowledge. It's based on actual, you could say, truth of our position. It's like, the sun shines. It doesn't depend on whether we like it or lump it, It shines. It's forever shining. It always has that constant. So the enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness is not, it may be in the beginning because we're still affected by the modes of nature, we're affected by competition, we're affected by being recognized, we're affected by the results, we're affected by how we feel, so many things, isn't it? But I think of a whole bunch of others. Different things which when we don't get that, and this is very common, and the causes of that are too many to discuss this evening, but why we give up our enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, even if we have any, we usually have some, we have to have some. Without enthusiasm, you can't do anything. To what degree? Anything else on the spiritual side?
Prashadam?
Yes, your hand was not up. If it was, you spoke before, so yes.
I think probably touched on it slightly, Maharaj, but I think like effective maintenance of the body, so you can serve and practice correctly.
Can you? I can't quite piece it together.
So I think probably mentioned it slightly, diet and exercise.
Exercise.
Because you mentioned that most of us are not in the temple anymore, so we're at home.
Yeah.
So we may not be as active as we would if we were in a temple. So maybe a maintenance of the body is also important.
Okay, well it's behind it. Of course, that's behind everything. I mean, in terms of material, spiritual, keep fit. To try to keep the machine fit. You won't be. It'll be very difficult. You're both right. If you don't have your body is like unfit. You can be internally, but a little bit enthusiastic maybe, but externally is pretty difficult too. But that again is not necessarily genuine enthusiasm. It's not. It's a support. It's a support factor. It's not a causal factor. A real enthusiasm, support factor, which is required also. Anything else, ladies?
Association.
Pardon?
Association.
Association. Yeah. Well, of course, this is the key, really. I mean, we did mention earlier on how by association that. In the temple and so on, Prabhupada's association, how it's so powerful in awakening our natural enthusiasm. Because Srila Prabhupada is doing everything only solely and wholly for the service of his Guru and Krishna. And we're associating with such persons who are enthusiastic. This is the secret by association, is whatever form it takes is the real secret of awakening our enthusiasm. What do you think? Is it or not? What do you think? Now, Lochan Prabhu, you traveled with us for 4 days or more, I think. Did you learn anything? Didn't sound like it. I learned not to do it again. I'm not going to volunteer for that ever. It was my fault. I should have known what I was getting into before I volunteered to drive me around. Huh? He's exhausted. He's exhausted.
I'm exhausted from your enthusiasm.
The result of me is I've exhausted him. By associating with devotees, you become exhausted. You could be. And that's back to your point, actually. It's just interesting. I've noticed that people nowadays, they don't seem to have the same physical stamina. In general, we're talking very general here. Obviously, exceptions are all over the place. But in general, I mean, so many things. What we talked about this morning, I never heard of it before. So many, what was that? Some medical thing. I never even knew it existed. I never ever met anyone in my life until about 30 years ago. There's so many things that are coming up now. I can't remember what it was, but it was something really weird. It's so common nowadays amongst young people. So common. And they're just the general stamina, the drive, the determination seems to be very weak compared to what it was before. There are reasons for that, literal reasons. And that's another big topic. But it does definitely seem like that. It is difficult. So keeping fit physically, but you've got to be a little bit careful you don't go overboard with that one. There's easy ways to keep fit. You walk to work instead of driving. We always used to walk to work, walk to school. We didn't have cars. We had to walk, back and forth 2, 3, 4 times, sometimes in a day. And, many people don't walk as much as they used to. Maybe you do, but many people don't. Simple exercise. Their eating habits. Many people's eating habits are not the best on the planet. Many things upside down. How much, medical stuff we take, and all these things. That's a study in itself. We can't really go down there, but it definitely seems to be that the general health of people is not so good these days. Anything else? Yes? Oh, that's very wonderful. You like to cook, obviously. Now, one day maybe we'll be blessed to be able to honor the prasadam or the food that you offer to Krishna. Let's see. Yeah, you can really tell that, isn't it? When someone cooks with... Now, we're not talking of passion. Sometimes people misidentify enthusiasm with passion. Flying around like a blooming crazy fella. And cooking like crazy. But no, it's this consciousness as well. Enthusiasm is not just action only. But it's acting with intelligence. In this case, intelligence means in relationship with Krishna. We're thinking and conscious of Krishna. So. And if it's like the mother, if she's conscious of the child, she'll be very enthusiastic to do everything just for the child's pleasure. So one is in Krishna, can't do everything, just what does Krishna, the motive is what does Krishna want. So cooking is a very good example. Thank you for bringing that up. It's a very good example. When you cook for the deities. Now when you're cooking for your family, of course you have to do the needful. But when you're cooking for the deities, what do you cook? What do you cook? I don't mean the details, but the principle. What is your motive? To please Krishna, isn't it? You want to find out what Krishna wants, and you try your best to cook the way Krishna likes. I mean, as I say, with family life, you have to use your common sense and do the needful. You've got kids and so on. You try to cook for Krishna's pleasure. Is that right? You try to do everything for Krishna's pleasure, but cooking is a cooking religion, probably. Sometimes we're called the cooking religion, kitchen religion. So you try to do it like that for Krishna. So we may not be so advanced, but if we're a little advanced, understanding what a real business of Krishna consciousness means, it means to be conscious of Krishna.
to please Krishna, to understand that my eternal nature is to bring or serve, to try to bring pleasure to Krishna. This is my nature. And by doing that, we, the soul, will be happy. If we try to do otherwise, we may get some temporary pleasure, but we won't get internal pleasure. We won't get the real pleasure that we're searching after. So let's go back to cooking. Why did you mention cooking? Is it because you like cooking also?
I like cooking, but I also like cooking for Krishna because I like to bathe the deities and dress
There you
them.
go. So it's a combination. This is the perfect combination. When you're able to do something you like to do, and you do it for Krishna, under the direction of the pure devotees who know how to do that for Krishna's pleasure, then you will become very happy. You're naturally enthusiastic when you're doing something you like, isn't it? I mean, you may be motivated by results and lose interest, but in general, when you're doing what your nature is, conditional or otherwise, if you like doing it, you're naturally going to be enthusiastic, isn't it? More so than if you're doing something you don't like anyway. That's the general principle. Whether it's a habit, a sport, an activity, a relationship, whatever. That's generally the case. So that's another important part of this development of enthusiasm. The Vedic system was developed like that, so that people could be properly situated according to their varna and their ashram. It's helpful. It's not the goal, but it's very helpful if it's done in relation, Daivi Varna Ashram, in relationship with the Supreme, in developing real enthusiasm, because you're following Krishna's direction of action. Whether it's cooking, whether it's pujari work, whether it's cleaning, whether it's raising a family, whether it's an occupation, work of various kinds. Anything else? Yes.
Strong Shraddha.
Pardon?
Strong faith.
Oh, definitely. Strong faith. I mean, wow. That's, again, the faith is generally evoked in time. You don't necessarily start off with real thought. Strong faith means unflinching faith. You don't generally start with unflinching faith. You have some faith. And when we associate with those who have more faith, and we follow whatever path it is we see, then the faith can increase more and more and more and more. And as our faith increases, naturally our enthusiasm will increase. Usually when we first come, we say, oh, many devotees look back and say, I was really enthusiastic when I first came to the temple, or to Hare Krishna movement. But I've kind of lost my enthusiasm. What would you say about that? It's a common one. Is that right? It's common. What would you say? Maybe it's happened to you. It's happened to pretty much everyone over some point of time. What would you say? Yes?
You just have to keep continuing until it comes back after some time.
That's, if you've got that determination or that depth, you could say, although your enthusiasm may have dwindled, you may be losing whatever, a drive to get up in the morning or chant your rounds or go to the temple or do a service or something. If you've got that strength, that's the next point, of course, of favourable. It's a nischat, to be patient. But that's not always so easy, is it? You wait and you wonder what's going on here. What do you do?
Maybe reflect and see what made you enthusiastic in the beginning.
That's a nice one. You can reflect on what's making you not so enthusiastic now. There may be something. Sometimes it's part of the, you say, the process in terms of when we come in with Krishna consciousness. It's not new. For most people, there's something from the past also. Because the results of Krishna consciousness are never lost. So oftentimes in the beginning, you see devotees, they go like a rocket. Then suddenly, boom, plane. They're going up a mountain, and then you're sort of on this plateau. You don't go higher. So you reach a point which, in one sense, you could say, a stage which more or less you were on before, and you quickly get there, and it's difficult. It requires more surrender, that's for sure, to go further. Yes?
Listening to stories of Krishna?
Pardon?
Listening to stories of
Yeah, that's all round subject, but it can be related to this too. that to rekindle, we've heard already, to rekindle that faith. What was it that Prabhupada said? And hearing is part of it, by the way. That's one of the main areas, to hear in the association of devotees about Krishna. But there was something more specific Prabhupada said. Yes? You want to come in, or you want us to go? Maybe they want us to shut up, I don't know.
It's all up there.
Huh? Is it upstairs, isn't it? You better be careful. Yes, what were you saying?
To take some time to go on a retreat or stay.
To go on a retreat, or to?
Or stay in a temple for a while.
It's a nice one. Good idea. New Mayapur is a good place to stay. Plenty of service to do there. Yeah, you go on a retreat. I know many. How many of you came to New Mayapur in France? I've seen some of your faces there. Hands up, if you've got hands left. All right. Many of you have been to New Mayapur. So I guess you went for a retreat, is that what you call it? Generally you get pretty enthusiastic, is it, after retreats? I don't know. That's the idea. Is that the idea? Rekindles your enthusiasm. Retreats, coming together with devotees, and what you do there is like what you said. You hear about Krishna, you hear about devotion, service, or whatever. What else did Prabhupada say specifically? Who hasn't said it yet?
Just maintaining association.
Associating with devotees and enthusiastic devotees, hopefully. If you associate with devotees who are like, oh boy, I'm so miserable, you know. I don't know if I can carry on with this any longer, you know. It's just boring. I don't like those devotees over there. Oh God. Yeah, that probably won't make you very enthusiastic. Probably not. You might feel a bit better if you feel, oh, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. So that, yeah, but enlivening association, whether it's in the temple or wherever it may be. Anything else? Yes?
Deity worship?
But yeah, if you like deity worship, if you don't like it, then, or if you're not in the right mood, then you may not have the right result, you know. It's, you can become very offensive, in fact. I personally had that experience. I won't get into details. But yeah, if that's, you know, if it's something you like doing, then that's a good point, actually. I remember when I went through a few periods of, I would say, I mean, it's not like, maybe it is, I better be careful what I say. He might start trying to put me under some kind of, you know, analysis or something. That's his job. And, you know, I went through certain periods of my life where I would say, I didn't lose enthusiasm, but I was feeling depressed, quite depressed, long periods of time. And what kept me going was that I hooked on to something, which was in line with what you said, something I could do, which was appreciated. Now, to be appreciated is not our goal in terms of day-to-day. Ultimately, we want to be appreciated by Krishna. That's not necessarily wrong. The Krishna, because we want that Krishna's happy with us. But others too. Doing something which, you know, others around you will recognize. It gives you a pick-me-up sometimes, you know. If everyone's saying, oh, you're a blimmin' nuisance, go away, you know. It doesn't help to enthuse us very much, you know. Or we fail, you know, and don't get any recognition, it's flop, you know. But I would always hook on to something which I could do very effectively, would be appreciated and useful for the movement. Kept me going through, in many ways, in difficult times. Of all things, you won't believe what it was. You can guess. This went on for years like this.
Mopping the floor?
I wasn't as humble as that. We know what to give you if you get... You have to mop the floor, this floor here. You won't be very popular if you start mopping this floor. You have to make sure it's the right floor, that's another point, by the way. And, you know, the stinky, horrible, dirty mops that we use sometimes. Okay, no, it wasn't mopping the floor. Although I did that sometimes, that wasn't the main thing. And probably some of you do this as a profession, actually. But you know, one of the biggest problems that ISKCON's had, and probably still does, in terms of administration, somehow I have a flair for it, which I don't use now. Don't need to. Well, I do sometimes. Use it a little bit, but not much. What's one of the biggest problems ISKCON has in administration?
Finances.
Finances. So finances has several sides to it, isn't it? There's raising funds, but more important than raising funds is what you do with them, isn't it? So I had a kind of a knack on that side. I wasn't a fundraiser, but I had this kind of natural knack of accounting and, you know, budgeting, monitoring funds and stuff. So every temple I went to, I always ended up in that position. Default. Even if I was not feeling good, I would absorb myself in that. It was much appreciated, and it gave me, you know, big boosts to persevere. Now it's not like that so much. I don't go down that channel, but for many years it was like that. Many years. Maybe 20 years. Now it's a different thing. It's like, you know, reliving. It's something to look forward to, and I've seen that with many devotees as they get older. That what were you enthusiastic when you first came to Krishna consciousness? We don't have the stamina, or maybe we do, physically speaking. I mean, you saw on the last 5 days I was like a dead fish the whole time. I was like a dead fish on the ground, and you were all jumping up and down like rockets.
I don't remember that, Maharaj.
No, you haven't. That's another symptom of this age, unfortunately. Young people have bad memories in this age. They can't even remember where they are sometimes. They have to write their name on their hands. Just terrible. Yeah. You become alive. When you're doing the right thing, you wake up, you know. I mean, what can I say? This subject is unending. Unending. Enthusiasm is the nature of the eternal soul. If enthusiasm means you just simply love, it means love, you just want to do what the Lord... Look at that picture of Lord Janananda. Painting. I don't know how authentic it is, but it looks pretty far out. It looks like he's really experiencing something we could all, you know, follow. But enthusiastic. When you look at how Prabhupada sacrificed for us for no reason other than love, how can we not be, at least make the effort to show some gratitude on his behalf? Do what he'd like, you know, what would please him. Anything else before we close the curtains? Well, Prabhupada said festivals, don't forget that. That's what he wrote. He said coming together in the temple, and kirtan, and organizing festivals to rekindle. Festivals particularly important to rekindle their enthusiasm. They really are. Very important. They're not, even, you know, the first Gorpani festival organized in Narottam Das and Srinivas and others, and where Janavama was the, you know, VIP there and so on, to bring the devotees together with a unified goal. Enthusiasm churned in that association. The festival is not just to come, like Rath Yatra. It's not just a festival to come together to, you know, meet up and talk about your families and the politics and this and that. But to absorb, it means we absorb ourselves in the festival. And Rath Yatra is probably the best. The ladies, the men, everyone, all together making, sewing, cooking, making arrangements, and for the festival, advertising and everything that goes along with it, all together working for Jagannath, and then going on the Rath Yatra, pulling the ropes, and, you know, dancing and singing as much as we can. Get right into it, serve prasadam, all these things. It's incredible how much one can, it just happens. It's the same when you go on the Sankirtan chanting on the street, isn't it? You know, it just happens. You don't have to, you know, kind of plan it, work it out. Now, if I dance like this, I'll be enthusiastic. If I open my mouth 1 inch bigger, make me enthusiastic. You know, it's not like that. It's just connection. The holy name with Krishna. Our time is flying by. We're way over time, and tomorrow's a working day. I'll just run through quickly that conversation. We haven't got time for the according to the modes of nature type. Visiting holy places can make you pretty enthusiastic sometimes. I know a lot of devotees have completely rekindled their spirit just by visiting Mayapur, Vrindavan, Puri, isn't it? I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but many have. Of course, just coming in contact with, as you said, hearing pastimes of Krishna, his qualities, hearing about Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that hearing about the life and pastimes of great devotees. If you probably in one book, Bhakti-aloka, he discusses this point. When we hear, and he specifically mentions Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Haridas Thakur, but Raghunath Das, but he could be any great devotee, and we have Srila Prabhupada. So hearing about Bhaktivinoda, hearing about Bhaktistan. He says the result of hearing about them is that one develops great determination. Determination, you need enthusiasm. Determination means without end, no termination. So you have to have enthusiasm, but enthusiasm can come to an end. Real enthusiasm can, but the type that we are mixed can. But determination means no end. So you develop determination, which will include enthusiasm, confidence, which includes patience and courage, he says, and confidence, and satisfaction. Real satisfaction. When you're satisfied with something, it's not difficult to be enthusiastic. That satisfaction is required. If we're not satisfied, it's difficult to keep up our enthusiasm. So that satisfaction. So hearing about great devotees is so important. Anything else? When you preach, do you feel good? When you see somebody, sometimes it may not be said, but just the effort, even if there's no apparent result, that effort, you feel good. And especially if someone takes a book, or, is a follow-up there. And one of those was with us last week, not on this trip last week, Ishan was with us. I don't know if you know him, he's living in Scotland. And we were in the temple in Soho Street, maybe 10 days ago. And this one lady came up to him and said, "Oh, you're the person who sold me that book last year." And now she's coming to Soho Street, she's chanting japa. And he was telling me, the day before actually, at the Rath Yatra Festival, oh my God, he said, I don't know if I want to distribute books this year. Last year, I only did 2 books the whole way in 3 hours of trying. And one of those books was that lady. So it's not a matter of quantity, it's the effort. So he felt very, very happy, naturally, preaching. Anything else? Yes.
You learn a new skill within the actual community.
If it inspires you, yes. That you have to see. I mean, sometimes it's not learning a new skill, it's realizing something within you. I'll give you an example. Another time when I was feeling like as if, I had certain devotees in this movement who I just didn't really want to be with. I don't know if you ever had that experience. And, or I felt they never really wanted even iota of understanding of me. And it was like a very distant feeling. Another Krishna inspired me something I really didn't ever expect or think about. It was part of my existence. What about early 90s, I guess? What about now? I suddenly started doing drama. Acting, writing dramas, directing dramas, acting in dramas. And 108, a minimum, no figure can be put. But it's like the whole relationship with others changed almost on the spot. Persons who were previously, look, I didn't particularly, but I felt so uncomfortable with them. Were coming up and say, can you come to my temple and do that, please? Persons who I never thought that was ever part of me. I used to run away if somebody said, can you take part in a drama? When I was a kid, you know, it's like last thing on the planet I wanted to do. So sometimes it's like, it's already there in you. It comes up at a certain point of life, that desire to do it. And take it. If it comes up, take it. As Krishna is hinting. There's one major thing which nobody's mentioned. Perhaps the most important of all. Yes?
Pray.
Pardon?
Pray.
Isn't that incredible? You said exactly what it says here. Krishna is so much in your heart inspiring you. Nobody thought about help. Isn't it? Prayer. Calling out to Krishna. He alone, ultimately, is only Krishna. Nothing else works. We can do what we like, but ultimately it depends on Krishna. So that sincere, heartfelt prayer to Krishna. If we want to be a devotee, we may be struggling. We may have our difficulties. We may have lost our, whatever it is, the thread or whatever you call it. But that sincere crying, prayerful crying for Krishna. He's there. Devotees, of course, too, but ultimately it's Krishna. Prayer. You can pray to devotees, you can pray to Krishna. It's not a mechanical process. It's personal. Real enthusiasm, real devotion is a personal relationship. So prayer certainly is an essential part at that stage. Even Prabhupada used to pray. Not just Hare Krishna. He was sometimes seen praying to Srimati Radharani to please protect him, that he not fall under the influence of the material energy. Even great devotees pray. Look at the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. The Bhagavatam is full of prayers. Full of it. So prayer is a very important thing. Don't think that this is some, Krishna's, maybe there or maybe not there, or it's just energy and has no, he's most personal. Be personal. Whether it's details, sometimes at the beginning stage it'll be a detail in our service, and then at different stages it may become a different, more of a kind of complete surrendered type of prayer. But prayer is very important also. Well, time is way over, and it must be time for prasadam now. Prasadam ready?
Prasadam we have before program.
Pardon?
We have prasadam before program.
What? I wouldn't have come if you told me that. Prasadam before the program? What are you doing here? I would have left immediately after prasadam. I thought you only came for the prasadam.
That's why everyone was on time.
Well, that's why there was so many. I thought, what's going on here? Sometimes you start the class with 2 or 3 devotees, and just at the end there's like a packed house, and everyone's looking at their watch, looking outside to make sure there's no one in the queue. And very enthusiastic about prasadam, aren't we? Isn't it? That's another thing, it is nothing, it's good if you're really down, just go for prasadam, just go for it. Honor prasadam, at least, the devotees. Prasadam is so wonderful. Of course that involves if you take food which is not offered to Krishna, by the way, that will diminish your enthusiasm. Things which are unfavorable will definitely not help us to be enthusiastic. That's for sure. So that's part of association, big topic. Anyway, I better finish there, and he's already just about to he sent the people to bang on the door just now. He's about to pounce on me any minute now. Grab the mic. Thank you, Maharaj, that's all. 3 joys for Maharaj, thank God it's over. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you all right? Are we all ready? Sunday night is busy in Crawley, isn't it? Are they coming out the pubs yet or not? No, they're not. Pretty far out there going to those places, wasn't it? Eh? Ashford. I'll never forget Ashford. Have you heard of Ashford? Is it Ashford or Hashford? Ashford? Somebody called it Trashford. Somebody called it Hashford. But I found it, I honestly said after, I said, this is the nicest place I have been in my life on Harinam. In the West. I don't know, you were there. You were there. And they've been a few, Rupanuga's been around, you know. It was almost as nice as France, wasn't it? Better than France? Really? Couldn't imagine anything better than France, especially Châtelet-Léal in Paris. I mean,
Can't be as worse as Wisbech.
huh?
Can't be as worse as Wisbech.
Whiz Beach, not Whiz Beach. Whiz Beach. You didn't,
Town.
huh? Yeah. Chaitanya Spook was with me. He was driving us around in you were part of the previous team, you're right. We went to Whiz Beach and Downham Market. We went down in Downham Market, then Whiz Beach we thought we'd come up, but I think we went down still further. And then we went to another town, what was that? Melton Mowbray, went down still further. We couldn't imagine how far down we could go. But we were jumping and dancing like anything.